See, the sustainable management of natural resources. What do you mean by sustainable management? Sustainable management means the resource which we have to use, with the help of some techniques. Okay, that is called sustainable. Sustainable means not using, overusing, not using less. Okay, sustainably means using in limited fashion, using in very good knowledge. So that is what sustainable management. See, sustainable management in this chapter we'll be covering like introduction, need to manage our resources, forest and wildlife, water for all, coal and petroleum, management of natural resources. These all things we'll study in this chapter. 1 minute. Okay, fine. Okay, introduction. Natural resources are the basic substances present in nature which are being utilized by the living organisms for their survival. As you people know, natural resources are the basic substances, so which are present in the nature for utilization of living organisms for their survival. As we have seen in our environment chapter, there are biotic factors and abiotic factors are there. In an environment, there are two types of factors. One is biotic as well as abiotic. These abiotic factors are used by biotic things or living organisms for their survival. Without this abiotic factor or without these natural resources, these living organisms cannot live at all. Example, water, soil, forest, wildlife, coal, petroleum. These all are the natural things which are present in our nature for free of cost. Okay, we are not paying anything for these things. These are present in our nature for free of cost. So these we have to use. All the living organisms, all the living beings use these all water, soil, forest, wildlife for their survival. So this is nothing but our natural resources. So these natural resources, example, we have seen forest, wildlife, coal, petroleum. These all are the natural resources. Resources means the things which are helpful for the human beings. So if a country is there, means that country must be resourceful. That country must be resourceful. Especially the natural resources must be abundantly present in that country so that the country is independent. Example, in our country, there is no petroleum. We import petroleum from other countries. So we are not petroleum sufficient, or we are not self-sufficient in the matter of petroleum. We import the petroleum from other country. So if petroleum was there in our country, think how much rich we were. So this is what, if these all natural resources are present in our country, then how can we use them sustainably is the biggest question. So these all natural resources should be used sustainable manner in order to conserve our environment. See, if we are not using them sustainably, if we are overusing them, if we are not using them with our consents, with our knowledge, then these all natural resources will be collapsed or will be not available after few years. So this is what the problem may occur. Therefore, we have to study this chapter to think about the technique whenever we use our natural resources. So this is what the main motto of the chapter. So over-exploitation of natural resources. Over-exploitation of natural resources is done by the humans for the following reasons. So why we over-exploit the natural resources? Why we overuse the natural resources? Why we are overusing the trees? Why we are overusing the petrol? Why we are overusing the water? Why we are wasting the water? Why we are cutting the trees? So these all the reasons for the over-exploitation of natural resources is given below. The first reason is to fulfill the demands of ever-increasing human population. See, if you go back around 20 years back, the population of the world was very less comparing to today's status. So today there is an increase in population, boom in population you can see. So as there is ever increasing human population is there, means the need for natural resources also increases. The demand for natural resources also increases. See, if the population is more, means the increase in water increases, the increase in land increases. Okay, the uses of land, uses of petroleum, uses of diesel, this all thing increases by default. So due to this, we are over exploiting the natural resources. And one more thing, that is the large scale industrialization and urbanization. See, everywhere there is industrialization is going in the world. So large scale, in the large scale, we are industrializing our world, and we are doing urbanization by cutting the trees, by cutting forest, by cutting many useful things. We are urbanizing our country, we are urbanizing our world, we are industrializing our world. See, if a forest is there, so this forest we cut and we establish some factories from companies and all for the sake of human beings. No doubt this is necessary. No doubt this is necessary, but we should not over exploit. We should not become greedy to the urbanization and industrialization. How much necessary, that much is enough for us. So in present situation, how much we need, how much, how much amount of things we need from these urbanization and industrialization. Is it really necessary? We have to think before urbanizing our country, before urbanizing our world. And also the construction of buildings and housing complexes. Many times what we do, just we construct the buildings and housing complexes without any reason, without, okay, continuous increase in population, need continuous places for those people for the livelihood. As they need the places, as they need house, so we need even the construction work goes on. So due to this construction work, many times we exploit our nature, we cut our trees, we cut many things, we overuse many things, we waste. So that is what the thing, we should use them with our knowledge and conscience. So a number of laws and national international levels of enforced to safeguard our environment. There are a number of laws, numerous of laws are there to safeguard our environment, but still we are not strict. These laws are not strict enough to control the over usage, to control the over exploitation of environment. So there are national level laws are there, international level laws are there. As you have seen, Kyoto Protocol was international law. Why this Kyoto Protocol has done? Kyoto Protocol has come into picture to save the ozone, So like that, many types of laws are there in the country, in even international level. And especially in our country, the Ganga Action Plan was introduced in 1985 to improve the poor water quality of the Ganga River. You know what was happening previously? What was happening previously? If it is a Ganga River, many people or many industrialists, what they used to do, they used to build factories, they used to build companies at the basins of Ganga. And what they have done, they have directed their all waste materials, unhygienic things to the Ganga. So due to that, this Ganga nowadays is completely polluted. And even many people are using this Ganga river as in different ways. Like if you go for any temples and all, they used to think that this if we take bath in the Ganga, if we throw some eatable things and many things in the Ganga, our sins will be cleansed. So due to that kind of immoral and unethical things, our Ganga is now completely polluted. So to combat this pollution of Ganga river, the Ganga Action Plan has come into picture in year 1985. So the Ganga water level was very poor in 1985 itself. Okay, but due to this Ganga Action Plan, some amount of improvement has seen in the Ganga action plan, in the Ganga river. So especially if you see what type of methods we have to follow to control or to stop over exploiting or to use our environment in a sustainable manner. The first thing we have to see is the most important question and most important thing which we will get in exam is we have to adopt the 3 R's. We have to adopt the 3 R's. The first R is reduce. Second R is recycle. Third R is reuse to save our environment. So if you're having anything, you have to reduce using of that. See, we have forest, we have water. We have to reduce using of forest. We have to reduce using of water. We should not waste them. Getting my point? How much necessary, that much you take, and remaining you keep as it is. Because sometimes what we do, human greediness, what he will do, he will cut these forests, he will cut, he will use water, and he starts saving them, he starts storing them for his future needs. So this is what we are making mistake. So we have to reduce using our natural resources, and we have to recycle the natural resources. How you can recycle? See, there is in a rainy season you will get rain. Okay, you will get rain, heavy rains you will get. So due to that rain you can save. Okay, that rain water you can save and you can reuse that, or you can recycle that rain. You are saving your water, you are saving it, and you are reusing that water which is coming, sorry, recycling water which is from the rain. And also some water bottles and also some things you will get. So this water bottle you can reuse it. So it was for the water previously, now you can use it for planting the trees. So I am reusing this water bottle. And also recycling and reusing we have to do. Recycle means that water bottle must be given to whom? It should be given to municipal offices so that they will recycle it. Again, they will make something new from that and they will again circulate in the economy. So these all things we have to practice. And one more thing, the reduce involves the less use of resources. As I have said, reduce uses, first R uses, reduce means less use of resources. We should not over exploit. How much is necessary, that much we have to use. We should not store for our future. We should not think that I will, it should be like, overusing. Some factories, some companies, some greedy people use over. They waste the things. So that we should not do. And also recycle involves recycling of used item like plastic, paper, glass, metal. If there is a paper, you can reuse it. So recycle it, that paper. You can sell to the person and he will again make new books from that and he will again circulate. Plastic also you can recycle, and glass you can recycle, and even metal you can recycle. You should not throw it into the environment, and you should not purchase again and again new items itself. You should learn to recycle the things. And also reuse involves using things again and again. Using things again and again. See, you have a pair of clothes. You have a pair of clothes, still it is new, and you are purchasing one more pair of clothes. So this cloth, from where it is coming? It is coming from plants, correct? And you have a notebook. What you are doing? You have 10 notebooks. Still you have not completed these 10 books. Again, you are purchasing 10 new notebooks. So these 10 notebooks, where these are coming? These are coming from trees. Eventually, we are cutting trees to fulfill your needs of notebooks. So if you are reusing those again and again, if you are using your previous notebook this year also, so this shows you are saving our environment. No doubt you are giving some contribution in the saving of environment. So you have to practice these all things. And the judicious use of resources will prevent wastage and conserve our natural resources. The management should ensure equitable distribution of resources so that all rich and poor benefits from the development of these resources. See, our judiciary, our judiciary or the court or the judicial system in our country has enforced many rules and regulations how to use these natural resources. So this is ensuring that this is our judicial system is ensuring in the protection of our natural resources. But many times rich will get more natural resources, poor will get less natural resources. Example, the rich person who is having money, he can purchase lots of things, but poor person will not get same natural resources. Example, petrol is our natural resource. Petrol is our natural resource. The rich person can purchase petrol how much he wants and he wastes it, simply he wastes it. But poor person even not getting that much of petrol for his daily needs. So we have to distribute these natural resources equally between rich and poor. We should not think that this person is rich, this person is poor, so he will get more natural resources as and he will get less natural resources. That should not happen, because these natural resources are for everyone, not for a single person, not for only educated class, not for only rich person. As it is given by nature, as it is provided by the nature, each and every person is having equal and equal benefit. Each and every person has equal rights on the natural resources. And forests are biodiversity hotspots. The loss of biodiversity leads to the loss of ecological stability. See, forests are called biodiversity hotspots. What do you mean by biodiversity hotspots? Means, see, we have forest. We have forest. So now everyone is cutting this forest. It is having biodiversity. What do you mean by biodiversity? Many types of living organisms, many types of plants, animals. There are different varieties of plants and animals are there in this forest. Then it is called biodiversity. Then it is called biodiversity. If numerous different types of plants, animals, organisms, microorganisms, birds, means you can see all type of things there in the biodiversity. So if we are overutilizing, if we are cutting this forest and all, this all biodiversity is in threat. All living organisms, all animals, all plants are in threat. So when it is in threat, it is called as hotspot. Then it is called as hotspot. It is in threat. Hotspot means it is in danger. The biodiversity forests are in danger. Therefore, we are calling these as hotspot. Hotspot means it is in danger. Nowadays, you people are seeing, I think, corona hotspots. Corona hotspots you are seeing, right? Hotspots means most threatable stage or more dangerous stage, we can more dangerous place of a corona. So like that, even our forests are there in hotspot level. Means forests are in threat. Everyone is overutilizing, over-exploiting the forest. Therefore, forests are in biodiversity hotspot places. And one more thing, if you see, the main aim of conservation is try to prevent the biodiversity we have inherited. What we have to do, we have inherited the biodiversity. We have inherited our nature. We have inherited the trees. We have inherited all animals and plants from our forefathers, from our previous generation. We have to save it. We have to preserve it for the future generation. We should not over exploit. We should not overuse. We should not think that it is my property. We should not think that it is only for me. We should think that it is for everyone. It is for all the kinds, all human kinds, even all animals have equal rights on that. All animals, all plants, not only humans, everyone is belonging to that forest and everyone is belonging to that nature. This earth is not for only humans, it is for everyone. It is for each and every individual who is living in this world, who is living on the earth. It is for even plants, it is for even animals. Even they have equal rights on the natural resources. So we are just collapsing our diversity. We are just overusing our diversity, biodiversity for our greediness, for the human nature. So we should limit it. The stakeholders of forest are, this question is very, very important. Many times this question has come in the exam. Please remember. The stakeholders of forest are local and tribal people of the area. Stakeholders means the owners. Stakeholders means the owner. See, if it is a forest, if it is a forest, if it is a small forest, some tribal people are living in this forest. They are living, they are taking food, they are taking shelter from this forest. Then to whom this forest belongs? To these people who are living inside this forest. They are the stakeholders. They are the local people are the stakeholders of forest. And department of government. Who is the owner? Second owner. The stakeholders of forest are local people and the tribal people. And one more, the stakeholder is department of government. The industrialists and the wildlife nature enthusiasts. Yararu? Industrialists, wildlife nature, wildlife lovers and nature lovers and enthusiasts are the stakeholders of this forest. Not everyone. If a particular forest, say A forest is there, this forest name is A, here in this forest some people are living, and this A forest belongs to these people, and it is also belonging to the government, and it is also belonging to the enthusiasts and scientists which are working for mankind. Scientists work for mankind, scientists work for us, nature enthusiasts work for us. Each of these groups of the stakeholders make use of forest in the following ways. How they use? These all are the stakeholders, and how they use it in different manner. How the government is using, how those tribal people are using, how local people are using, how industrialists are using, how nature enthusiasts are using this forest. We have to see. If you see the first stakeholder, the people who live in or around the forest are dependent on the forest. Products of various needs like shelter, food, transport, fuel, medicines, and cattle grazing. After the British took control of the forest, these people were forced to depend on much smaller areas, and forest resources started becoming exploited to some extent. See, this forest is not for everyone. The forest is for the people who are living inside the forest. The tribal people lives inside the forest. What they do? They get shelter, they get food, they get transport, they get fuel, they get medicine, they get cattle grazing from their forest itself. So what happened is the British people who took over the forest have reduced, they have started business from that forest. They have started industries from that in that forest, and the place limited, the place which is given to the people of forest has become very, very less. Now they have to live in very, very compact places. Now, previously they were having large forest. Now British people have occupied some amount of forest, and only small amount of forest is now there for these people who are living in the forest. So these people who are really in need of forest, really in need of fuel, really in need of medicine from that forest are now shelterless, foodless, transportless, fuelless, and medicineless. Now where they have to go for their food, now where they have to go for their medicines, now where they have to go for fuel and all. So everything which they were getting is from forest. And these British people, when they have took control over the forest, they have started overusing, they have started overutilizing, they have started establishing factories, the industries and all. And next, the department, how it is using. The Department of India destroyed the huge biodiversity of a forest by converting them into monocultures of commercially important plants such as pine, teak, eucalyptus. Such forests are useful for the industrial purpose and not for the local needs. What our Department of India has done, Forest Department of India has done, it has destroyed huge biodiversity. They have destroyed all types of plants, all types of biodiversity they have destroyed. only they have grown only important and economically important plants such as pine, teak, eucalyptus. These are responsible, or these are useful for only industrial purpose, not for any people. These are not responsible for conserving our environment. These are not responsible for releasing too much of oxygen into the environment. These are not responsible for the people who are living in the forest. They will not get any food, or they will not get any shelter, or they will not get any fuel from that forest. Even our government is exploiting, even our department of forest is exploiting this forest in unethical ways. So from these all things, we have to learn that forest is not a property of just government. Forest is not property of just humans, or forest is just not a property of the people who are businessmen and who is having money. Forest is for everyone. The biodiversity is for everyone. It is not for just making money. It is for some people, it is the food. For some people, it is a shelter. For some people, it is a fuel. For some people, it is the business. So we have to understand that the forest is very, very important for us. Getting my point? And the biodiversity, whatever we are using, is not just for us. Please remember. 1 minute. See, next, if you see third part, industrialists. Industrialists, what they do, you know, they consider forest as their baap ka jagir. Baap ka jagir bole to they consider it as a raw material for its factories. It is, they think forest is a sources of raw material for my product. And they doesn't think about the people who are living inside it. They are not interested in the sustainability of forest in one particular area. They doesn't care how much forest we are cutting. They don't care about the people who are living inside. They don't have any sense of humor how much oxygen this forest is contributing in the environment. They don't care anything. Just they want their business. Just they want to grow rich. So that is what these industrialists think. They do not have any stake ensuring that one particular area should yield an optimal amount of some produce for all generations to come. They don't think that this forest is a property of everyone who is living around it and all the people who are inside this forest. They think that it is just a source of raw materials, whatever I am producing. So if these industrialists are using this forest in unethical or overusing it, so then how can we get a good oxygen in our future, good air in our future, good water in our future? So if we are cutting this forest continuously, we'll not get rain, we'll not get good oxygen. The quality of oxygen, the quality of air around us also decreases. The carbon dioxide content increases in our air also. So the forest are the one who are protecting us. We are getting lots of oxygen. We are getting lots of things from the forest. We have to understand it and we have to stop overusing it. The wildlife and nature enthusiasts play an active role in conserving the forest in its pristine form. Pristine form. This is very important. These people are working for the forest, not for the benefits. Wildlife enthusiasts and nature lovers, what they do, they love forest and they care forest, they conserve the forest and they do some research on the forest. Whenever there is a harsh hit to the forest, they think about the forest and they inform the government that this is happening in this forest, please come and save this forest. They do this type of work. And even the local people should be actively involved in the forest management since they have ensured the sustainability. Even local people, what they have duty? They have the duty of maintaining the forest. See, if you go from Halki to Bidar, there is a forest, some small forest is there. That forest saving, that conserving that forest duty is ours because we are using that forest. We are getting oxygen from that forest. It is our duty to conserve it. It is our duty. It is the people, local people who have to conserve it. Who have to inform the government. If anyone is establishing any factory, if anyone is overusing, if anyone is cutting that forest, it is our duty to inform, and it is our duty to inform the police people, to inform the forest department. The local people should be actively involved in the forest management. Okay, from what we will stop today.